Blood filled Marcus Williams's mouth as his grandmother's voice echoed in his head. "Baby, if this day comes, remember, survive first, fight later." 11:58 p.m. Interstate 95. 6 officers surrounding a black teenager who'd done nothing but drive while black. The live stream count climbed. 100, 500, 2,000 witnesses to what happened next. Marcus's fingers scraped wet asphalt. 3 taps. Pause. 3 long drags. 3 more taps. Officer Rodriguez stepped on his hand, laughing. "What you doing, boy?" "Praying." The MIT acceptance letter in Marcus's pocket was soaked with rain and something warmer. These weren't supposed to be the black stories his mother warned him about. These real-life stories weren't supposed to happen to honor students with perfect records. But perfect records don't stop bullets, or batons, or hate. Have you ever wondered what thought runs through your mind in the moment before everything changes? Marcus was about to find out. 30 minutes earlier, Marcus had been singing off-key to his sister's favorite song. Now his mouth tasted copper. Aisha's birthday cake sat untouched in the passenger seat, chocolate with rainbow sprinkles, "World's Best Sister," written in purple frosting. She'd made him promise to drive careful. 14 years old and already scared of losing him. The blue lights hit at 11:47 p.m. Mile marker 23. Marcus's whole body went cold. His hands trembled as he reached for the interior light. The switch clicked 3 times before catching. His fingers wouldn't work right. Window down. The November air bit at his face. His mother's voice crashed through his mind, but he couldn't remember the rules. Something about hands. Something about sir. License and registration. The flashlight beam felt like a weapon. Officer Rodriguez, thick neck, wedding ring. Smell of menthol cigarettes studied the MIT letter like it personally offended him. Marcus heard his own voice crack. "It's in my wallet." "I'm reaching—" "You being smart?" "No, sir." The words came out whispered. Pathetic. Rodriguez's partner arrived at 11:49. Then another unit. Another. 6 officers surrounding a Honda Civic with a "proud parent of an honor student" bumper sticker. Marcus's leg wouldn't stop shaking. The whole car vibrated with his fear. His phone sat mounted on the dashboard. He'd forgotten about it until now. Some app was running, something his roommate installed last month. "Just in case," Derek had said. Marcus hadn't paid attention. Now the red recording light blinked like a heartbeat. Step out. Am I being detained? The question came out automated, like muscle memory from some YouTube video he'd watched once. Out. Now. Marcus's thumb found his phone. Muscle memory again sharing location with Mom. But his sweat-slick finger hit something else, too. 3 apps opened at once. Numbers started climbing on screen. 10 viewers, 50, 100. A comment popped up. "We see you, baby." He didn't know who we were. "I smell marijuana," Rodriguez announced at 11:52. Lie. Marcus's inhaler rattled as his breathing quickened. "Sir, I have asthma." "Shut up!" The word hit harder than a fist. Marcus bit his tongue, tasted blood again. His little sister's voice echoed, "Why do they hate us, Mark?" He'd never had an answer. Chen turned off his body camera with a soft beep. But across the highway, a Tesla's autopilot recorded everything in perfect 4K. An Uber driver pulled over, faking engine trouble while his passenger filmed. The traffic camera at 23.5 installed after a fatal crash last year captured angles the officers never considered. They didn't know about the invisible web of witnesses forming around them. Rodriguez leaned close. Coffee breath and something sour. Your kind always thinks you're so smart. College boy, huh? The live stream hit 500 viewers. Someone typed, "Badge number?" Marcus squinted. 4,827. He said it loud. Clear. Getting out or getting dragged? Marcus's hand found the door handle. His legs felt liquid. I'm complying. Hands visible. Exiting now. His sneaker touched wet asphalt at 11:54:23. That's when he noticed something strange on his phone screen. A countdown timer he'd never seen before. 0 hours, 5 minutes, 37 seconds. Ticking down. He hadn't started it. The app, whatever Derek had installed, was doing something. Washington pulled out his phone, laughing. Got another one knows his rights. He was FaceTiming someone. Multiple voices laughed through the speaker. Like this was entertainment. Marcus stood in the rain, hands visible, shaking. Not from cold. From the knowledge that sometimes compliance isn't enough. Sometimes nothing is enough. These real-life stories usually ended one way. These black stories became hashtags, and his mother would have to identify, no, stop, breathe. The countdown, 0 hours, 4 minutes, 12 seconds. Spread your legs, hands on the vehicle. Marcus moved slowly, deliberately. His grandmother's rosary bumped against the window. She'd hung it there the day he got his license. Protection, she'd said, for when I can't protect you myself. The countdown, 0 hours, 3 minutes, 45 seconds. Rodriguez's hands patted him down rough, too rough. Marcus's phone kept recording from the dashboard. The comments exploded. This is wrong. Someone call someone. What's that timer for? Marcus didn't know what the timer was for, but Derek, computer science genius Derek, had insisted. If something happens, this app will save your life. 0 hours, 2 minutes, 58 seconds. Washington found Marcus's wallet. Pulled out the MIT acceptance letter folded inside. Tore it slowly, deliberately. Let the pieces fall into a puddle. Oops. Something broke inside Marcus then. Not his spirit. Something else. Some last wall between fear and fury. His fists clenched. That's it. Rodriguez smiled. Show us who you really are. 00:01:47. Marcus forced his hands flat against the wet car, forced himself to breathe. In the distance, he heard something. Not sirens. A phone ringing. Then another. Multiple phones, all ringing at once. 0 hours, 1 minute, 15 seconds. Chen's radio crackled. All units, be advised. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 45 seconds. Rodriguez's supervisor calling. Washington's phone buzzing insistently. Everyone's devices lighting up simultaneously. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 20 seconds. Marcus didn't understand what was happening. Neither did the officers. But 3,847 people were now watching live. And somewhere, in a federal building 600 miles away, an emergency protocol had just activated. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 10 seconds. The officers still thought they were in control. Still thought this was just another traffic stop. Another black kid to terrorize. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 5 seconds. They were about to discover exactly how wrong they were. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Every phone at the scene officers and Marcus's shrieked with an emergency alert. The same message on every screen. Federal witness protection activated. All parties maintain positions. FBI en route. Federal witness. Rodriguez's voice cracked. That's impossible. You're nobody. You're just some dash dash. The word he wanted to say hung in the air. Everyone knew what it was. Marcus didn't understand either. His head pounded where it had hit the car. Federal witness? He tutored kids at the library. He'd never even had a parking ticket. But every screen kept flashing that alert. Even the patrol car computers he could see from the ground. It's fake, Chen insisted, but he was backing away. Someone's pranking us. Washington was frantically calling dispatch. We need confirmation on a federal alert at... His phone died. Then Chen's. Then Rodriguez's. Every police device went dark except the cameras. Those kept rolling. Marcus tasted blood and rainwater. His ribs screamed where Rodriguez had grabbed him. The live stream viewer count on his phone. 8,394 and climbing. Someone commented, "We called the FBI. They said they're already aware." Already aware of what? A Honda Accord pulled over. Maria Gonzalez, coming off 12 hours in the ER, wasn't planning to stop. But she saw the blood on Marcus's face in her headlights. Saw 6 officers surrounding one kid. Her own son was 19. "I'm a nurse," she called out, staying by her car. "Does he need medical attention?" "Move along," Rodriguez barked. She lifted her phone. "I'm documenting this for medical purposes." "He's bleeding." Another car stopped. The Uber driver had been listening to his passenger, a law student named Ashley, explain civil rights. Now they both stood recording. Then a plumber's van, a teenager on a motorcycle. Within 3 minutes, 11 civilians formed a loose circle, not approaching, just watching, recording. Rodriguez's neck went red. "This is an active traffic stop. Everyone needs to..." "It's a public highway," Ashley said, loud enough for every phone to hear. Terry v. Ohio establishes our right to observe police interactions from a safe distance. The live stream exploded. 15,000 viewers. 20,000. Someone with a blue checkmark shared it. Watching now. Black teen surrounded by 6 cops, bleeding. Federal alert on screen. That's when Rodriguez snapped. He yanked Marcus up by his collar. Marcus's feet left the ground for a second. The sound that came from his throat wasn't a scream. It was smaller, more broken, like a child's whimper. "Stop!" Maria stepped forward instinctively. Washington drew his weapon. "Back up, now!" 30 phones rose higher. The image gun pointed at a nurse while a teenager bled burned across the internet. 35,000 viewers. 40,000. Mile marker 23, trending worldwide. Marcus's phone rang. The caller ID made Rodriguez freeze. Mom, federal courthouse. Not just any federal courthouse, the Southern District of Florida, where Judge Cassandra Williams presided over the consent decree that had Rodriguez's entire department under federal monitoring for excessive force. "Oh, shit," Chen whispered. "Rodriguez, is this Judge Williams' kid?" The blood drained from Rodriguez's face. But it was worse than that. So much worse. Because Marcus wasn't just Judge Williams' son. The federal witness alert wasn't fake. And the countdown that had ended 3 minutes ago? It had triggered something Marcus didn't even know about. 6 months ago, the DOJ had approached Marcus. Not as a judge's son, as a perfect candidate for something called Project Lighthouse College students documenting police interactions. They'd installed apps on his phone, trained him to recognize patterns, told him that if he was ever in real danger, the system would activate automatically based on his vitals, location, and audio triggers. Marcus hadn't thought it was real, just another government program that wouldn't actually work. He was wrong. FBI units inbound, someone in the crowd read from Twitter. DOJ confirms federal witness in distress at I-95 marker 23. 2 minutes. That's what the update said. 2 minutes until federal agents arrived. Rodriguez had 2 minutes to decide what kind of cop he wanted to be remembered as. He chose wrong. His fist connected with Marcus's stomach. Marcus doubled over, dropped to his knees, couldn't breathe, couldn't think, just pain and the taste of birthday cake coming back up. "No!" Maria rushed forward. 3 officers moved to stop her. The crowd surged, not attacking, just pressing closer, phones steady, recording everything. "He's assaulting a federal witness!" Ashley shouted, making sure every recording caught her words. "That's a federal crime. 10 years minimum." Rodriguez hit Marcus again, this time in the ribs. The crack was audible on every recording. Marcus fell sideways, his face hitting wet asphalt. His sister's voice in his head, "Come home, Mark. Please, just come home." The live stream hit 75,000 viewers. CNN picked up the feed. The Chiron. Breaking. Federal witness beaten by police. Live. That's when they heard the engines. Not sirens, something quieter but heavier. 3 black Suburbans moving fast from the north. No lights, just speed that meant authority. 30 seconds, someone said. Rodriguez stood over Marcus, had to decide. Keep beating the judge's son on 75,000 screens, or step back and admit he'd lost control. Marcus looked up through the blood and rain. Didn't forgive. Didn't beg. Just said, "My grandmother was right about you." Rodriguez raised his boot. The Suburbans arrived like thunder. Doors opened before they fully stopped. Federal agents in tactical vests emerged with practiced precision. No local cop swagger. These were professionals who investigated cops for a living. "FBI, nobody move!" Special Agent Reyes's voice cut through everything. "Officers, hands visible." Now, Rodriguez's boot stayed raised, frozen between violence and consequence. "Officer Rodriguez," Reyes said calmly, weapon drawn but pointed down. "You're being live-streamed to 100,000 viewers. Your next action will determine whether you're charged with assault or attempted murder of a federal witness." The boot came down slowly. Not on Marcus. Next to him. Rodriguez stepped back. Reyes and 3 agents formed a wall between Marcus and the officers. 2 more agents began treating Marcus's injuries. Professional. Filmed. Every action creating evidence. "Marcus Williams?" Reyes asked gently. "Your mother's watching. She wanted me to tell you Aisha's cake is still waiting." Marcus tried to smile. Blood came out instead. The live stream viewer count passed 150,000. But the real number was bigger. Screenshots spreading. News channels rebroadcasting. Twitter exploding. Facebook shares climbing. Reddit threads multiplying. America was watching a teenager bleed on I-95. Watching 6 officers realize they'd been caught. Watching federal agents treat a black kid with more care than local cops ever had. These black stories usually ended one way. These real-life stories of police violence rarely saw justice. But tonight was different. Tonight, the system designed to protect bad cops had failed. Because Marcus Williams wasn't just any teenager. He was evidence. Living, breathing, bleeding evidence. And he was about to change everything. Marcus couldn't stop shaking. The EMT kept saying shock, but that wasn't it. It was rage. 6 months of swallowed rage finally breaking free. Agent Reyes held up Marcus's phone. "Mr. Williams, this app, we need to understand what we're looking at." Marcus tried to speak. Blood bubbled out instead. The EMT pressed gauze to his mouth. Marcus pushed it away, forced words through split lips. Badge 4827, January 3rd. Don't try to talk, Maria, the nurse said. But Marcus grabbed Reyes's tablet, started typing with bloody fingers. The live stream caught every word appearing on screen. Officer Rodriguez, unit traffic stops. 6 months. A list materialized. Dates, names, times. 17 stops, all between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. All black drivers, all near mile marker 23. Rodriguez stepped forward. That's classified police data. He hacked? No. Reyes studied the screen. These are first-hand observations. Mr. Williams, were you present for these stops? Marcus nodded, typed, passenger or witness. The crowd murmured. How could one teenager witness 17 stops by the same unit? Marcus opened another file. A photo appeared. Him with 8 other college students. A classroom at FIU. A banner reading, Community Observer Training Program. Holy shit, Ashley, the law student, gasped. You're a legal observer. You've been officially documenting, Marcus typed, not just observing. He opened another app, not the one that had been recording. Something else. A map appeared showing I-95. Red dots clustered around mile marker 23. Each dot was a traffic stop. But these weren't random observations. Marcus had been hunting them. For 6 months, every weekend, he'd driven this stretch of highway. Sometimes alone, sometimes with friends. Always between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. Always recording. Because his statistics professor at MIT had helped him identify the pattern. This unit operated on a schedule. They hunted at specific times, specific places. Marcus typed, They pulled me over 3 times before. The live stream exploded. 400,000 viewers. Someone commented, he was investigating them. Rodriguez's face went white. The Honda Civic. October. You were the kid who, Marcus typed, who recorded you planting something in Destiny Johnson's car. Chen grabbed for his personal phone. 2 FBI agents stopped him. We'll be taking that, Reyes said. The video Marcus referenced was already uploading to the cloud. Rodriguez leaning into a car, his hand moving to his pocket, then to the seat, then finding a bag that hadn't been there seconds before. That's edited, Rodriguez stammered. Marcus typed, check the metadata. But the biggest revelation wasn't the planted evidence, it was what happened next. Marcus opened his contact list, scrolled to D, not D for Derek, D for Detective. Detective Angela Patterson, Internal Affairs, Miami-Dade Police. She'd been Marcus's contact for 6 months. Every video, every observation had gone straight to IA. Internal Affairs? Washington turned to Rodriguez. They've been investigating us? Marcus typed. And FBI. Reyes pulled out his phone, made a call. Listened. His expression changed. Agent Williams, this is Reyes. Yes, ma'am. Yes. He's secure. Should I understood? He hung up, looked at the officers. That wasn't Judge Williams. That was Special Agent Denise Williams, no relation. FBI Civil Rights Division. Mr. Williams here is a paid confidential informant. Has been since he turned 18. The ground shifted under everyone's feet. This wasn't a lucky recording. This wasn't even revenge. This was a federal operation. Marcus typed, Project Lighthouse. Then he collapsed. The EMTs caught him, got him on the stretcher, but his phone kept streaming. The screen showed one more thing, a countdown timer that had been running for 6 months. It had reached 0 tonight. "What's Lighthouse?" someone in the crowd asked. Reyes looked at the officers. "A joint task force, FBI, DOJ, and civilian volunteers, documenting patterns of civil rights violations that individual complaints can't prove. Mr. Williams was assigned to your unit because of the statistical anomaly in your stop patterns." The math was damning. This unit stopped 89% black drivers, despite the highway demographics being 23% black. They issued 12% fewer tickets to black drivers, but used force 340% more often. Numbers that screamed discrimination but needed proof. Marcus had been that proof. "The federal witness alert," Chen said slowly. "When did he become—" "6 months ago," Reyes said, "the moment he signed his CI agreement. Every time you pulled him over, you were interfering with a federal investigation. Tonight, when you assaulted him, you assaulted a federal witness." The live-stream comments went wild, but Marcus wasn't done. Even on the stretcher, blood running from his mouth, he typed one more thing. "Check the diplomat's daughter." Rodriguez froze. 3 weeks ago, the Haitian consul's daughter. He'd made her stand in the rain while he searched her car. She'd said something about immunity. He'd laughed. "State Department filed a formal complaint," Reyes said, reading from his phone. "That escalated this to international incident. That's why we moved tonight. We were going to arrest you tomorrow, but when Mr. Williams's vitals triggered the emergency protocol—" "Vitals?" Washington asked. Marcus pulled up his fitness app. It showed his heart rate, GPS, and something else, stress patterns. The MIT project he'd been accepted for wasn't just about recording. It was about creating AI that could detect danger in real time based on biometric data. When his heart rate spiked, when his stress hormones surged, when the app detected impact sounds consistent with assault, it automatically triggered federal intervention. "You hit a teenager who was wired to the FBI," Reyes said simply. "Every blow transmitted in real time to federal servers." The ambulance was ready to leave, but Marcus held up his hand. "One more thing." He scrolled through his photos, found one from 3 months ago. A prayer breakfast at his grandfather's church. Rodriguez was there, in uniform, part of a community outreach program. Marcus had sat 3 rows behind him, watching the man who'd humiliated his grandfather pretend to care about the community. That's when he'd decided. Not for revenge, for justice. He typed, Title 18, Section 242. Every law student watching knew that code. Deprivation of rights under color of law. The federal statute used to prosecute police who violate civil rights. Maximum sentence. Life in prison if bodily injury results. Rodriguez looked at his hands. The blood on them wasn't just Marcus's. It was evidence of a federal crime. "We were just doing our job," Chen said weakly. Marcus typed his final message. "Your job was to protect." The ambulance doors started closing. The last thing the live stream showed was Marcus's eyes. Not triumphant, not vengeful, just tired. Tired of being hunted. Tired of being afraid. Tired of watching his community terrorized by people sworn to protect them. 500,000 viewers saw those eyes. They saw a 19-year-old who'd risked everything to document the truth, who'd made himself bait to catch predators with badges. As the ambulance pulled away, sirens wailing, the crowd didn't disperse. They stayed, recording, witnessing, making sure the 6 officers were actually arrested, not just detained, making sure the FBI didn't let them slip away into paid administrative leave. These black stories usually ended with funerals. These real-life stories typically became hashtags and forgotten promises. But tonight was different. Tonight, a teenager's blood on Highway 95 would become the DNA evidence that convicted 6 officers and transformed American policing. These touching stories of justice were just beginning. These life stories of courage would ripple from Miami to Minneapolis, from Ferguson to Philadelphia. Marcus Williams had done more than survive a traffic stop. He'd turned his body into evidence, his pain into proof, his grandfather's humiliation into a grandson's triumph. The revolution hadn't started with protests or politics. It had started with math, technology, and a 19-year-old who refused to be another statistic. Marcus woke to find 3 strangers in his hospital room. His mother sat in the corner, hand on her phone like a weapon. "Don't try to sit up," the first stranger said. "I'm Assistant U.S. Attorney David Park. We need to discuss your testimony." Testimony. Marcus's ribs screamed as he breathed. The morphine made everything fuzzy except the pain. Always the pain. "Can't this wait?" His mother's voice, not Judge Williams now, just Mom. "He had surgery 12 hours ago. The officers are being arraigned tomorrow. We need—" Marcus's phone buzzed, still live streaming to 587,000 viewers. He typed slowly, each movement agony. "Let them watch the arraignment from jail." Park frowned. "Mr. Williams, this is a federal case. We need to follow—" The door opened. A woman in a wheelchair rolled in, elderly, wearing a church dress. Marcus recognized her from his videos. Mrs. Destiny Johnson, the 16-year-old's grandmother. "This young man saved my granddaughter," she said. "You're going to let him speak." Behind her, more people. Michael Torres's parents, Angela Kim, with her premature baby in a carrier. 17 families Marcus had documented. They'd all come. "We're here to listen," Mrs. Johnson said. "Whatever Marcus says, we support." Park looked overwhelmed. This wasn't how federal cases worked. But the live stream count kept climbing. 612,000. 634,000. "Fine," Park said. "Mr. Williams, what do you want?" Marcus tried to speak. Blood came up instead. His mother grabbed a basin, held his head. The camera caught it all. The 19-year-old hero vomiting blood, while prosecutors waited. When he could breathe again, Marcus typed, "Not what I want, what we need." He pulled up files on his phone. 6 months of work. Not just videos, spreadsheets. Analysis. Patterns broken down into undeniable math. Highway 95 seizures, $3.2 million from black drivers, $45,000 from white. Force used, 89% black stops, 3% white stops. Searches finding nothing, 94% black, 12% white. Park studied the numbers. This is compelling, but there's more. Marcus showed him something else. Bank records. Not his. He'd used public records requests, FOIA applications, citizen journalism. The seizure money hadn't just bought equipment. It had paid for vacations, boats, a superintendent's kitchen renovation. "They stole from us," Angela Kim said, her baby fussing. "Called it law enforcement. It was theft." Park's phone rang. He listened, face paling. "The officers want to deal. They'll plead guilty to reduced charges." "No." Mrs. Johnson's voice cut like steel. "My granddaughter still wakes up screaming." "Reduced charges?" Marcus typed, "They face full charges, or we release everything." "Everything?" Marcus showed Park another file. Officer Rodriguez at a bar, 3 months ago, bragging to friends. Marcus hadn't recorded it. Another lighthouse participant had been there, documenting casually, just in case. Rodriguez describing how to make black drivers piss themselves with fear, laughing about it. Jesus, Park muttered. There's 200 hours of officers off duty. The families pressed closer. They wanted to see these men who'd terrorized them exposed, not just as bad cops, but as cruel humans. Marcus's mother finally spoke. As a federal judge, I've recused myself from this case. But as a mother, I'm telling you, if you give those officers a deal without victim input, this live stream becomes evidence in a civil rights lawsuit that will bankrupt the state. Park made another call. Longer this time. Marcus dozed off, the pain medication pulling him under. He woke to find the Florida Attorney General in his room. The actual Attorney General, looking defeated. Mr. Williams, the Department of Justice is willing to pursue maximum charges. But we need your cooperation. Marcus typed, define cooperation. Testify, in person, in court. Marcus looked at the families around him, saw their fear. Testifying meant reliving trauma. It meant facing officers who'd brutalized them. It meant being called liars by defense attorneys. He typed, not just me, all of us. All 17 victims, all 1,700. The AG blinked. What? Marcus pulled up the full Lighthouse database. Not just his district. Every participant nationwide had documented stops. 1,700 incidents of bias, violence, and violation. All connected by patterns. All proving this wasn't isolated. We testify together, or not at all, Mrs. Johnson said. Class action, criminal testimony. That's not how criminal trials. Then change how they work. The live stream exploded. 700,000 viewers watching a hospital room reshape American justice. Comments flooding in lawyers offering pro bono help. Citizens sharing their own stories. International observers taking notes. Marcus typed something else. The officers testify, too. Against each other? Against the system, he explained through stuttering text, fighting pain and medication. The officers would detail how they were trained. Who taught them to target black drivers? Which supervisors encouraged it? How high the corruption went. They'll never agree, the AG said. Marcus pulled up Officer Bradley's confession, the one who'd flipped first. In it, Bradley described a meeting where a deputy chief explained how to maximize seizures from target demographics, how to write reports that justified violence, how to make cameras malfunction. Bradley already talked, Marcus typed. Others will too, or face conspiracy charges. The AG's phone rang constantly. The governor, senators, the DOJ, everyone watching the live stream, watching democracy happen in real time from a hospital bed. Mr. Williams, the AG said finally, what you're proposing would require new legislation. Marcus smiled through split lips, typed, check your email. His MIT professors had been busy. Along with civil rights lawyers watching the stream, they'd drafted the Marcus Williams Evidence Act, federal legislation allowing collective testimony in pattern-based civil rights cases. Senator Warren had already agreed to sponsor it. Representatives from 6 states were on board. This is a blackmail, the AG said quietly. No, this is math. Marcus showed the final calculation. The cost of fighting 1,700 individual cases versus accepting systematic reform. The price of continued unrest versus change. The mathematics of justice. $400 million in potential lawsuits. 50,000 hours of court time. international condemnation, or reform. Your choice, Marcus's mother said. But choose quickly. The world is watching. The AG left. Came back an hour later with an answer. The officers would plead guilty to federal civil rights violations. Mandatory minimums, no reductions. They'd testify about systemic corruption. The state would implement every reform Marcus had listed, and the Evidence Act would get federal backing. Marcus typed one last demand. Rodriguez apologizes to my grandfather. Your grandfather? Marcus pulled up the video from 3 months ago. The elderly minister Rodriguez had humiliated. Reverend James Williams, Mount Zion Baptist. Rodriguez made him stand in traffic. Grandfather never told anyone. Now Rodriguez tells him sorry, in person, on camera. It wasn't about revenge. It was about dignity restored. The AG agreed. Marcus let his phone rest. 750,000 viewers had witnessed something unprecedented. A teenager from his hospital bed had just rewritten how America prosecutes police violence, not through riots or rhetoric, but through evidence and economics. These black stories of resistance had found new power in data. These real-life stories proved that documentation could deliver what demonstrations couldn't. These touching stories showed justice was possible when communities counted everything and made the numbers impossible to ignore. These weren't just life stories anymore. They were instructions, a handbook for holding power accountable, one calculation at a time. The first trial almost killed Marcus. Not physically, those wounds were healing. But sitting 20 feet from Rodriguez, reliving that night through testimony, watching the defense attorney call him a provocateur who entrapped innocent officers, it broke something inside him. You wanted this, didn't you? The defense attorney pressed. You hoped to get pulled over? Marcus gripped the witness stand. His voice came out raw. I wanted to drive home. I wanted to eat my sister's birthday cake. I wanted to not bleed on asphalt. The prosecutor objected. Sustained. But Marcus had already vomited twice that morning from anxiety. The live stream caught him shaking, caught the bailiff bringing him water, caught the moment he broke down describing the taste of blood. Rodriguez got 15 years, the others 8 to 12. Not the life sentences Marcus had wanted, but federal time. No parole for civil rights violations. The victory felt hollow until Mrs. Johnson found Marcus in the courthouse bathroom crying. Baby, she said, you did what my granddaughter couldn't. You survived to testify. 3 states passed reforms immediately. 4 others stalled. Texas prosecutors called Marcus a crisis actor. Alabama legislators said the videos were edited. The backlash was vicious death threats, doxing, his sister Aisha needing security at school. Marcus dropped out of NYT for a semester. Couldn't focus on robotics while reliving trauma in courtroom after courtroom. The documentary crews wanted inspiration. He gave them panic attacks and therapy sessions. I'm not a hero, he told his therapist. I'm just tired. But the math kept working even when Marcus couldn't. Traffic stops in reformed states dropped 43%. Use of force down 52%. The patterns were undeniable, accountability worked. 6 months later, Marcus returned to NYT different, quieter. He walked with a slight limp when it rained nerve damage the doctors couldn't fix. His thesis project wasn't the revolutionary AI everyone expected. It was simpler. An app that detected when someone was having a panic attack during police encounters and automatically called preset emergency contacts. "That's it?" a professor asked. "After everything, that's your contribution?" "My little sister had a panic attack when a cop was at her school for career day," Marcus said. "This is for her." The federal legislation took 2 years, not 2 weeks. The Marcus Williams Evidence Act barely passed 218 to 217 in the House. The deciding vote came from a representative whose son had been stopped by Rodriguez's unit 3 years prior. Florida's reforms faced immediate challenges. Police unions sued. Officers quit en masse, 3,000 in 6 months. Crime spiked briefly as departments scrambled to adjust. "See what you caused?" an angry email read. "Blood is on your hands." Marcus almost quit then, almost disappeared into engineering, let someone else carry the weight. But then videos started coming in from the new recruits. Younger officers thanking him. Women and minority cops saying the reforms had cleaned out the old boys club that had terrorized them too. "You didn't destroy policing," one black female officer wrote. "You saved it from itself." The surveillance AI Marcus had proposed got watered down to suggested guidelines. The civilian oversight boards faced constant obstruction. Real change came in inches, not miles, but it came. A year after the trials, Marcus met Rodriguez's daughter at a coffee shop. She'd reached out through lawyers, 19, like Marcus had been. She came to apologize, to say her father's crimes weren't her burden, but she carried them anyway. "He's getting treatment in prison," she said. "Therapy. He writes letters to the families he hurt. Most come back unopened." Marcus didn't forgive. Couldn't. But he listened. Because she was another teenager trying to make sense of violence done by someone who was supposed to protect. The 10th state passed reforms the day Marcus graduated MWT. He walked across stage slowly. The rain that day made everything hurt. His mother cried. His sister cheered. His grandfather prayed. His job offer wasn't from Google or Tesla. It was from the DOJ's Civil Rights Division. They wanted him to lead a new program teaching communities how to document discrimination scientifically, how to make patterns undeniable. The pay is government scale, they warned, a third of what tech companies offered. Marcus thought of Mrs. Johnson's granddaughter, still in therapy, of his grandfather, who'd forgiven but never forgotten, of every teenager who'd face blue lights on dark highways. "I'll take it," he said. These black stories weren't finished. These real-life stories had only begun. These touching stories proved that change was possible, but painful. These life stories showed victory came with costs that never fully healed. But the math still worked. The patterns still mattered. And Marcus Williams, 22 years old with a limp and nightmares and 3 broken ribs that ached when it rained, kept counting. Because counting was how you proved the truth. 5 years later, Marcus Williams can't drive past mile marker 23. His sister Aisha does the driving now when they visit Mom. Marcus sits passenger side, hands clenched, counting breaths like his therapist taught him. 1 breath. 2. The MIT genius who revolutionized policing can't pass the spot where he tasted his own blood without shaking. "We can take Route 1, Aisha offers. She's 20 now, pre-law at Howard, fierce in ways their trauma made necessary. "No." Marcus forces his hands flat on his knees. "I need to see it." The memorial is small. A plaque nobody authorized, but nobody removes. Fresh flowers every week. Marcus never learned who leaves them. Today there's a note. "My son made it home because of you." These notes appear regularly, tucked under windshield wipers, slipped under his apartment door. Parents whose children survived traffic stops that might have gone differently before the reforms. Marcus doesn't feel like a hero. Heroes don't take Xanax to testify. Heroes don't wake up screaming. Heroes don't feel their ribs break again every time it rains. The Lighthouse app has 8 million users, not the revolution's tsunami everyone expected, but enough. Enough to document patterns. Enough to prove discrimination. Enough that officers know they're probably being recorded. "The numbers are working," his grandfather says at Sunday dinner. Reverend Williams, 86 now, still preaching forgiveness Marcus can't find. 37%, Marcus recites. Traffic stops down 37%. Use of force down 52%. But, no buts at the dinner table, his mother interrupts. Judge Williams, who recused herself from every police case since that night, who sacrificed her career's greatest cases to avoid any appearance of bias. But Marcus can't stop counting the butts. But Tyre Nichols is still dead. But Texas reversed its reforms. But Rodriguez only served 3 years before a sympathetic judge reduced his sentence. Rodriguez's daughter found Marcus last month. Not to apologize, she's past that. She's a public defender now, representing kids like Marcus used to be. She wanted him to know. She uses his case in court. Shows judges what happens when routine stops go wrong. "You're saving lives," she said. "I'm counting them," Marcus corrected. "The saved and the lost." Because that's what he does now. Not the DOJ job that lasted 2 years before the panic attacks made travel impossible. Now he works from home, analyzing police data for civil rights lawyers, finding patterns in numbers because patterns saved his life. His phone shows today's statistics. In Florida, no fatal police shootings during traffic stops for 18 months. The longest stretch in recorded history. The math is working, slowly, imperfectly, but working. These black stories didn't end happily. They evolved into something harder: persistence. These real-life stories taught America that documentation is democracy's new frontier. These touching stories prove that one person's trauma, transformed into data, can reshape nations. These life stories continue in every person who records injustice, who counts discrimination, who refuses to let power hide behind isolated incidents. Marcus Williams changed America not through violence or votes, but through mathematics. He proved that when enough people count, the numbers become undeniable. Now it's your turn. The count continues. Right now, someone is being pulled over. Someone is being targeted. Someone needs witnesses. If you've experienced discrimination, document it. If you've witnessed injustice, record it. If you know patterns, expose them. Drop your story below. Not for views or likes, but for evidence. Share this not for viral fame, but for visible truth. Because Marcus Williams, broken and breathing, proved one thing: they can beat us, they can break us, but they cannot deny our numbers. Count with us, calculate with us, change with us. The math of justice only works when we all do the counting.